Hello and welcome to Beachao, and today with me I have a car which was loved globally. This is the Volkswagen Jetta from 2016, and the good part about it is that this car is the 2-liter TDI which has a lot of good stuff about it. So today I'm going to take you around this car. I'm going to show you what all this car came with back in the day, how much the owner picked this car up, and how good this car still feels to drive and to be in even in this day 2025. Now looking at it in typical Volkswagen fashion, it's got a very timeless sort of a design. Even after all these years, the design looks still very seamless. It's not a kind of design which fades away or which gets outdated very soon. This car from 2011 to 2018 more or less followed the same design language with a few updates like the DRLs which came in later end models which were launched after 2015. And I feel that this design or this shape of this car is, it's a little understated, but at the same time something which is very timeless. I believe that even if you look at this car even 10 years from now, it's still going to not look outdated compared to other sedans of this time. Why I say that this car even makes a lot of sense to buy today as well in 2025, because the owner of this car picked this car about 2 years ago. This is a 2016 model, and the owner picked this car up with about 65,000 kilometers on the Odo, and he picked this car up for, guess what, 8.5 lakh rupees for a 65,000 kilometer run car, which is, I'll show you the condition on the inside. It is genuinely in really good shape, and I'll also tell you how much he spent on keeping it running, maintaining it, and that's going to be something quite surprising to you as well. The other good part about this car is it comes mated with a brilliant engine. In my opinion, the 2-liter TDI that Volkswagen came out with in the Jetta as well as in the Superb and also in the Laura was one of the best engines VW has made, the best diesel engines that VW has made, and I'll show you why. Now, just like most modern day cars, you can't actually see the engine because it's sitting underneath this plastic cover. But this 2-liter TDI that came from the factory came with 140 horsepower and about 230 Newton meters of torque. And the beauty about this engine is, first, it's relatively rattle free for a diesel engine. You can't hear the engine on the inside. It's very refined. And the best part is that this engine, if you're driving it stock, of course it's a very refined engine, as I've already said. But if you want to tune this, there is a ton of aftermarket support for this engine, where people have taken this car all the way up to stage 3, where it goes to approximately 250 to 300 horsepower and more than 400 Newton meters of torque. The other good part about this TDI is that this engine came mated with a DQ250 gearbox, which is known for its reliability and also for its higher torque bearing capabilities compared to something, let's say, like the 7-speed DQ200, which has much lower torque bearing capability. So no matter if you buy this car with a manual or that DQ250, that gearbox is pretty robust and can easily take more than 500 Newton meters of torque without any problems. But that's not all, because this car actually came loaded with quite a few goodies. Come, I'll show you inside. Now, the thing with Volkswagen cars is that they never give shouty features or features that are sort of like, gimmicky stuff which you'll probably use once or twice. In fact, what I have found is most of the VW cars give features that you can genuinely use on a day-to-day basis, and something which is really handy. Like, even before getting into the car, I can show you that one of the features which is also missing in the top-end cars, even today, cars up to 20-25 lakhs, they don't have 1 pinch up as well as 1 pinch down windows. And this is not just for only the driver window, even the rear windows get it. So basically all 4 windows have 1 pinch up as well as 1 pinch down power windows. These are kind of genuinely helpful features which are going to help you out on a day-to-day basis. And this car genuinely came with a lot of other stuff as well. Firstly, this this is plastic, but it really looks nice. It's got this kind of trimming which makes it look very executive, along with this dual tone black and sort of beige interior. It had this kind of trimming, kind of giving it a very executive look. Then it also had power adjustable side view mirrors. It had auto headlights, multifunction on the steering wheel. In fact, even to this day, a lot of people who upgrade their Polos basically somehow manage to take out the steering wheel from the Jetta and fit it to their Polos. Then it had a small information display. Like, this is pretty basic in comparison to modern day standards, but it had this all that time ago. Now look at it over here. This car is currently done 1,23,000 kilometers. The owner of this car bought this car when it was 65,000 kilometers done for 8.5 lakh, and since then he's been pretty much driving this car as his daily driver. In the last 2.5-3 years that he's owned it, he's basically clocked in those many kilometers. Only service or the only expense that the owner has done till now is a full timing kit and a timing belt service, which costed him approximately 25,000 rupees because he got it done from outside. If you do it from Volkswagen itself, it's probably going to cost you about 60,000 rupees. Apart from that, because India's road conditions, especially over here between Pune, Bombay and nearby areas, is not as good, so he also had to get a full suspension change. Now that is very much dependent on where you stay and what kind of roads you have around you, and also how the previous owner has used this car and where they have driven the car as well. So that is a little bit subjective, but I would say at around 1 lakh kilometers you still in most cases would need a new set of suspensions, and that's it. That is the only expense that this car has taken till now at 123,000 kilometers. And I mean, this is a kind of testament to people who doubt Volkswagen or German car reliability. The thing with German car ownership is that you need to know when to get this car serviced, what are the preventative measures that you need to take care of when you're buying the car, when you're servicing the car, how clean are the original service records from the original owner, these kind of things. Like, it's not like a Japanese car, it's not like a Toyota or a Honda where you just keep driving it even if you forget servicing or even if you forget maintaining some of the critical and crucial engine or mechanical components, things are going to still work well. That's not how it works with Germans. In Germans, you need to be very precise with when you're servicing it, how you're servicing it, and of course, if you're buying a used car like this, how good the car has been maintained previously before you bought it. The service history of the car is more important than anything else when considering buying a German. Now, with that said, let me show you some more features. You also had a nifty lid, like this was a trend back in the day. I don't know if it is so popular, but back in the day, you used to get this little space on the top to keep your sunglasses. Now, this is also an automatically dimming mirror. Then you also get climate controls. You get a pretty basic unit in terms of what you get in today's cars, but this was also with Bluetooth functionality. You still don't feel so outdated. Then over here is your main thing, which is the DQ250 gearbox. As I said, this is the more robust gearboxes that Volkswagen sells. Between the DQ200 and the 250, this is the definite one to go. It is not lungy, it is pretty smooth, either if you're driving on the highway or if you're driving in the city. It's a really nice gearbox, pretty reliable, pretty robust, and something which will last for a really long time. Also, if you notice over here, this is a car from the era where you still used to get an aux port in cars. Also, another good thing about this car is that this car has parking sensors not only at the back but also at the front. Even in today's day, I don't find a lot of cars in this price which have parking sensors both front and back. Just to give you an example, recently I drove the MG Windsor EV that for 16 lakh rupees had parking sensors only at the back and not at the front. It had 360-degree cameras, but come on, sometimes parking sensors are more important in understanding how close or far you are from objects. Let me know down in the comment section below, how do you think the features of, let's say, like a 8 or a 10-year-old car like this match with cars today in the same price range or in the same segment. Apart from that, if I come over here at the back, this car also had some really nice and spacious rear seats. As you can see, the owner of this car is about 5'7" in height, and I have a very decent amount of legroom for me. I also have a really decent amount of headroom for me, and the seats in general are very comfortable. They have really good under thigh support, so even on long distances, it's not like I'm going to be hanging off the seat. The seats are nice and low. I am kind of sitting very comfortably over here, and for a long distance journey, I don't think this is going to be at all uncomfortable. Also, in terms of safety, this car had 2 airbags, one for each passenger, and also it had these side curtain airbags for, you know, a side impact as well. Also over here at the back, you get a 12-volt socket as well as an AC vent. Apart from that, pretty decent on the back over here. It looks comfortable. It looks decently plush. I won't say very plush, but it's good. Also, another couple of things. The list is not over yet. This car also had a lot of other things, like, for example, automatic wipers. It also had headlight washers that most of the cars have actually omitted. So in fact, this car back in the day had features which are completely missing from today's cars. That's how it is. I mean, progress much? You tell me. Now the key looks very simple. It's a simple VW key, very common for everything from a Vento to a Polo to this Jetta as well. But this had one very nice feature where you press and hold on this and it opens your boot. And you just look at the size of the boot. Ignore that. That's my friend over here is a very, you can have a look at his car. You can look at how clean he keeps it. And that's all of his cleaning accessories for the car. But apart from that, if you look over here on the inside, that is actually quite a massive boot. In fact, I'm pretty sure me and my friend both, who are both 5'7", 5'8" humans, can easily fit over here. There'll be a lot of touching, but we'll still be able to fit inside over here. Then also, if you double click, you could remotely open this as well. Pretty neat, huh? Then on the outside, this car also came with discs both at the rear as well as the front. So basically on all four corners. It also had, this is the updated version which had the LED DRLs, which I'll show you once the car is on. There you go. This car also came with these LED DRLs. It also came with this headlight washer and quite a lot of loaded stuff in this car. I think for back in the day, this car actually came pretty nicely loaded. It got a lot of things. Oh, and one more thing which I missed out on telling you is that it also had power adjustable seats for the driver. For the passenger, the seats were adjustable, but they were manual. But for the driver, you got a fully adjustable power seat. So, I mean, I think in terms of features, this car actually came with a lot of them. Now, back in the day, this car had an invoice value of 21 lakh rupees on road. I'm not sure if that is value or not. You guys let me know down in the comment section. But definitely in today's day, if you find a well-maintained first owner with clean service records, kind of an example like this car is, for 8.5 lakh rupees, I think the amount of features you're getting, the amount of tech you're getting, the beautiful engine, let's not forget that beautiful 2-liter TDI, which is smooth, it's very refined, has incredible tuning potential with a car that has a lot of aftermarket support. What do you think? I think it makes for great value. Let me know down in the comment section what you think. But again, I mean, definitely the features are one part of the story. The other part is how this car drives. Now, we all know this is a great driving car, but still, I'm going to take it out on the highway for you guys and see how it actually drives when we are on a real world test. First things first, I've already started the car. Now, when my friend was rolling in, you can hear that diesel engine rattle a little bit, but sitting over here on the inside, that completely disappears. As I said before also, this is one of the smoothest, one of the most refined diesel engines that VW has made for sure. Like, I had a Vento 1.6 TDI, and that thing used to make so much of noise. Even on the inside, it used to be rattly, it used to be very, very clattery, typical of how a diesel car is. Now, the good part is that also you get more features when you start driving this car. You get a tilt as well as telescopic steering. Now, a tilt steering is not something which is very surprised to be having in a car, but a telescopic steering is definitely rare. Not a lot of cars, even in this day, give you a telescopic steering option. So there you go. While driving, now we are just driving normally, we've just started. The noise levels on the inside are really, really, really low. Like, you definitely feel like you're sitting in a premium car. You have that kind of noise isolation from the outside. You cannot hear much of what's going on the outside. The suspensions are very, very comfortable, very, very smooth. The reason why most of people never got engaged with cars like this is because A, back in the day, they didn't know what maintenance costs will be for a Volkswagen product. Over the years, we've come to know that unless it's a completely CBU like the VRS parts, where the parts are really expensive, other VWs are still pretty decent. They're pretty easy on the pocket. They're not that bad. Like, I own a Polo for almost 1,20,000 kilometers now, and I've changed the clutch. Yet the clutch was expensive, but apart from that, some parts are expensive, specifically the parts which have to be imported to India. But apart from that, most of the parts which are made locally, they are not that expensive and not that bad. I mean, 25,000 rupees when you get it done outside, for with all genuine parts, by the way. 25,000 rupees when you're spending on a timing service, which is considered as one of the most expensive services for any diesel vehicle, that's not bad at all. For a VW, that is absolutely not bad at all. Driving normally on these cement roads which we are currently on, there is a lot of bumps, but then this car manages those bumps. The suspensions on this car manage those bumps very, very nicely. There's not a lot of jerk, there's not a lot of rattle, nothing on the inside. This was the era when VW, like, I mean, I have seen the Ventos and the Polos progressively deteriorate in their interior quality over time. The first Vento which I had, which was 2012, to the Polo, which I had in 2018, I've already seen a lot of cost cutting in terms of how the interior finish and the fit and the overall quality of the build is. But thankfully, there were no cuts in this car because this was a global model and they couldn't afford changing a lot of things specific to India. So they basically left the car the way it is. And because of that, over here on the inside, even if the roads get bad, even if there's a lot of potholes, a lot of ruts, over here on the inside, you are sitting in a very calm, kind of plush, but a very serene interior for sure. The engine does not at all come in the middle of your peace and quiet. It just hums along. Of course, when you're on the outside, you can hear the rattle, you can hear the clutter of the diesel engine, but in the inside over here, absolutely nothing. This is a proper executive driver's car. Such a smooth car. The brakes are nice, they are pretty sharp. Now, I've got a little bit of an empty road in front of me. If I put it on sport and put my foot down, the way it builds up speed. I mean, you don't expect supercar levels or sports cars level of speed because it's 140 bhp and 230 Nm of torque. But for a car of this size, with how comfortable you are, with 4 seats where you can actually have 4 of your friends sit comfortably, it is pretty good. It's a car, best what I would describe, something that balances everything like power, comfort, refinement, good dynamics, a comfortable ride quality. It's got a little bit of all of them. I think this is one of those cars which balances out all your kind of needs in a very, very linear way. If you want the car to go out for a nice weekend fun drive, this car could be it as well. If you want a car which you are taking your family around, friends around for, let's say an evening out with friends or something, then also this car it'll be very handy. The only thing you need to be a little careful is some really high speed breakers where probably there is a chance maybe that the car scrapes with 4 people in it. But I mean, that is the reason why actually a lot of people went away from sedans, because they didn't know how to manage a sedan over bumpy roads or over potholes when they used to scrape the car, or they used to damage the underbody of the car. There's a certain different style of driving which you need to adopt, especially if you're in India when it comes to sedans. But man, if you do, it is so rewarding because you're sitting so low. You have that confidence when you're getting into corners, when you're pushing the car. It's a different world altogether. Something which, the dynamic wise, I don't think any SUV can come close to what this car has to offer, or any sedan as a matter of fact has to offer. Honestly, this is such a nice condition car that sitting over here in the driver's seat or even in the rear seat, I don't feel, by no way I can feel that this car has done 1,30,000, almost 1,23,000, 1,24,000 kilometers. It's just unreal. Also, this is the great part about this car and its transmission and the engine. It has a lot of lovely low-end torque where you need to perform a quick overtake if you're in the city or even if you're on the highway. It never disappoints. That 2-liter engine has great, nice lumpy torque both in the low end as well as in the mid-range, and that gearbox is quick enough to provide you that torque and that horsepower when you need it. Unlike, let's say, a CVT or a torque converter, the DSG, the biggest advantage of having a DSG is that it shifts up and it shifts down. More importantly, shifts down as soon as it can. And that is why even with 230 Newton meters of torque and a diesel and a turbo, where you generally have issues like turbo lag, where when you want the power, you don't have it immediately at that particular moment. Oh, look, another Jetta. Man, just love how these cars are. I mean, even in today's day, after so many years, they look so elegant when one is passing you by on the road. And something which I've found that always is a head turner for me, if there's a Jetta crossing, it always turns heads. Anyways, so as I was saying, this low end and this mid-range torque is so beautifully utilized. You're able to utilize that because of that DQ250 DSG, which ensures that it kicks down as soon as it can and gives you that lump of power, lump of torque to perform the overtake. Like, I put my foot down and within a few seconds it just drops a couple of gears down and gives you that torque. Brilliant machine. I think if you find something like this in today's day, where it's been maintained so well, where you have like proper service history, the owner tells me that he has no worries about the parts for this car because they are readily available. There are multiple shops, not just in Pune but in other cities also. They are specialists who stock specifically Volkswagen original parts. Apart from that, also there are websites like Budmo, and there are also tuners and all these other people who also stock parts, so that is not really an issue for a car of this age. Speaking about tuners, as I mentioned before, this engine and gearbox combination is one of the best, one of the most tuner friendly setups, because you can get literally, like, you can go stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 depending on what you want and what your budget is. If you do a stage 1, you can expect about 20% more boost in performance numbers. If you do, let's say, a stage 2 setup, which is relatively very simple and easy in a diesel car, where all you need to do is get a downpipe, a remap, and that's about it. If you want an intercooler, yes, then you get an intercooler as well for better colder air flow into your intake. But apart from that, you don't need anything else for a stage 2. And if you do a stage 2, this car goes to 200 horsepower plus. That is great, right? I mean, I'm talking about a cost of like about ₹1 lakh. You get all of these 3 things done in a stage 2 setup for ₹1 lakh. It's not bad at all. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section. And if you're brave enough, and if you really have deep pockets, and if you really want to go for that ultimate build, this engine gearbox combination is easily capable of handling more than 300 horsepower and more than 450 Newton meters of torque. There are actually builds in the international market where they are actually pushing 300 plus horsepower and 450 plus Newton meters of torque on the same engine and the same DQ250 gearbox setup. It's a great car for no matter who you are. If you are somebody who wants to drive it daily, somebody who wants to gain a little bit more performance while still keeping it reliable for daily day-to-day use, or someone who just wants to go all out on the mods and make a monster Jetta. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Till then,